Hello everyone, Pallytub here. Welcome back to Diablo 4. Hope you guys are doing well today. We are in the Light's Eye dungeon because I wanted to show you guys my Druid build that we came up with. I did hit level 25 on every single class. It did take quite a while, but I wanted to make sure I got my thoughts out there for each of the classes. Now, the Druid build we're playing today specializes in spreading dots across the screen, as well as being actually quite survivable, even without a lot of the fortified talents that Druid has available to them. We are using a lot of the Werewolf utility with some extra bits thrown in. I think it is worth mentioning that everyone seems to unanimously agree that Druid has some of the lowest damage in the Diablo 4 beta. Now, that's not to say it isn't playable. It absolutely is. Curse right here. We should be great at this. We start by biting with Rabies, and you can see that green dot spread across the screen. We then have Vine Creeper that we can put down again. This rooted everything around me, and as you can see, we did enough damage to kill everything off without even really touching it. That was just with 2 casts. If we use our generator, it's going to give us a pretty good amount of essence, and while we are using our generator, we also get a damage reduction buff. And then when we do swap in to our werewolf form from our right clicks, not only do we do that combo strike, those 3 swipes back to back that cleaves everything in front of me down, that's also going to be applying a bit of poison as well. There are some other synergies baked into this. We're going to take a good look at the talents here pretty soon. But I wanted to say, just because Druid's damage might be the lowest in the beta, that doesn't discourage me at all, because that's just numbers. Numbers can be fine-tuned, balance can be fine-tuned. I know a lot of the really later talents that we had access to, for instance, Hurricane, I was super excited for, and then Hurricane just didn't really do anything. But all of that can be fixed in future patches. The structure, the bones of what this class has, is one of the most diverse play styles of any of the characters that I've seen, and it was really fun to dive into because of all of the different themes that it had going on. This was a fun class to figure out. As far as our talents go, for my generator, I am using Storm Strike. This allows me to hit a single target, but then radiate damage to others with like a chain lightning effect. The cool thing about this is for 3 seconds after using it, you take 25% less damage. Druid had a similar early game to Barbarian, where I was basically looking for anything to help me survive until we got through those growing pains. And Storm Strike was a great source of defense early on. We got the Enhanced Storm Strike, which allows it to have a chance to immobilize enemies to keep them still. And because it is chaining, we're also going for vulnerable. So when I hit a single target, it'll bounce damage around. It could immobilize multiple targets. It could also apply vulnerability to multiple targets, meaning they're going to take 20% increased damage. And we do need that damage increase, sadly enough. In the next tier for our core skills, we're looking at Shred. 5 points into Shred. It is maxed out. This is a combo ability, so we swing 3 times, and the way it's set up is each of the swing kind of performs a different action. This has been upgraded to give us additional attack speed and return some bonus health to us every time we right-click an enemy. And this cleaves multiple targets, so you can heal for a decent amount. And of course, the third attack in our combo applies poison. Poison is super important to us. It is kind of the cornerstone of everything that we are doing. Down here, I did pick up Blood Howl to help me with my survivability. It's going to give us a heal on a very short cooldown, in fact. The cooldown gets shortened every time we get a kill, 1 second taken off, meaning if you're playing in a party or moving through content very quickly, this is going to be up all of the time. And Blood Howl also increases your attack speed by 15%. I have a legendary. It's this ring. Blood Howl increases critical strike chance by 5%. In addition, Blood Howl affects nearby companions and players for 3 seconds. So not only is that buffing me, it's also buffing my companions that I have summoned in, these wolves. Now, unfortunately, I kind of ran out of talent points. I do want to pump these guys up a little bit more. Their passive damage is okay. What you really get the big bang for your money is when you press the ability again and kind of focus them in on a single target. These guys are going to deal increased damage to immobilized and poisoned enemies, a debuff that we can apply very, very easy. So add 20% onto that total, and that's not looking that bad. Also over here in the companion tree, we did heavily invest into Vine Creeper. We have 5 points total in it so far, but I want to continue putting in more points. This basically has a passive component. Yeah, this little vine that creeps under the floor every now and then. If we activate it, it's going to root everything nearby and apply a pretty hefty poison to those targets as well. With the upgrade, they are going to just be standing still for longer and have the increased poison duration. And I've gotten increased dot damage and poison damage basically everywhere I can in our setup to not only accompany the Vine Creeper, but accompany Rabies as well. Now, we bite a target with Rabies, and they take a small amount of initial damage, but then we spread dots like a witch doctor from Diablo 3 to target to target to target to target to target. It is a great way of just melting entire screens. The upgrades just basically give it some more poison damage and then make it spread even faster. There are some legendaries that would benefit this playstyle quite a lot. For instance, one that turns our wolf companions into werewolf companions, and they can spread rabies as well. Unfortunately, I was not very lucky with legendaries on my druid inside of the beta, so I do know that stuff like that exists. Unfortunately, I do not have access to it. Even without that, though, we're able to maintain a pretty high spirit. While I was leveling up, I want to show you some optional talents here. I was pretty fixated on being able to left-click once and then go into my right-click shred combo. It was actually really satisfying to play around, and I think if I had more talent points, I would reinvest into these areas. So what I'm talking about is the Heart of the Wild maximum spirit increased by 3, but then abundance. Basic skills generate, I think it's 30% more spirit at max level. That coupled with clarity gain 2 spirit when transforming into human form. Because our generator is in human form and our spender is in werewolf, those talents had a really good synergy for just keeping my spirit, my resource, totally topped up. And I could literally go up to an enemy, swing one time just to get the damage reduction, right click to shred them down, and then make sure I was maintaining that damage reduction by just left clicking again one time. Now, because I respec to try to get some more damage out of the tree, we don't quite have that smoothness right now. I do have to land, maybe I would say 3 auto attacks to be fully capped off again. But it is a very cool playstyle and something to consider. I do think this build could be tweaked slightly to fit in-game quite well. For instance, we're focusing mostly on poison because we don't have the raw stats. But this would increase our critical strike damage by 20% on our shred for that third combo instead of poisoning. We could also pick up bonus movement speed here with bonus crit chance to close enemies. We have bonus crit chance from Bloodhowl because of our legendary. We could swap Vine Creeper's specialization over to be increased crit chance. And potentially we're looking at a very high damage output that we could get on demand. But of course, you have to have the critical hit stats to back that up. And I have a mere 6% chance right now. I think there's an ad fight coming up in this dungeon. Yes, indeed. You should be able to see the raw clear power of what we have to offer. That was 2 abilities there that cleared out that entire pack of enemies. In 2 seconds, I can spread another bite as well. Rabies are going across the screen. Now we're getting a couple elites in here, so I'm going to focus my pets to fight one of these elites as I continue to right-click combo it. As I get surrounded again, we're just going to Rabies into another vine, increase my damage one more time, and then try to right-click on the other prowler. If I can build up my spirit, increase our damage with my 1, and then right-click, the single target damage isn't bad because we have that attack speed increase as well as that critical strike increase. If we couple that with vines as well, most elites will fall relatively quickly. It's not bad. Another thing that's really important to keep in mind with Druid is, unfortunately, we were not able to unlock their class setup as well. Looks like there's a snake down here. That could potentially be another poison increase for us. But unfortunately, this area is unreachable in the beta, so I will not be able to find out. I think that's about going to do it for today, everybody. I hope you enjoyed today's video and this build spotlight. I do think it has decent scalability. It has decent clear as well. I could see it being pretty good late game with a swap over to critical strikes. I do have some more thoughts about the Druid. However, I think I'm going to save them for like a first impressions video talking about all the classes and kind of comparing them together. Overall, I enjoyed my time on Druid, and I would love to hear how you guys built. A lot of people were stopping by the stream and telling me all about their setups, and one of the best things about Druid was how vastly different they were. That was always exciting to hear. Thank you guys for being here. I'll be back again very soon with more Diablo 4. I have just a few hours left to play.